Okay, let's dive into this. We've all seen this story play out, right? Your company spends a fortune on a big, shiny new GRC platform. That's governance, risk, and compliance. The promises are huge: automation, real-time dashboards, the whole shebang. But then, crickets. Adoption just stalls, and pretty soon, everyone quietly goes back to their trusty old spreadsheets. So today, we're going to break down exactly why this happens, and more importantly, how to actually fix it.
And this quote right here, it just nails the entire problem. It says, most organizations don't fail at GRC because they lack technology. They fail because they mistake technology implementation for operational change. The issue isn't the software. It's the belief that just by installing it, you'll magically change how people work. And well, it just never works out that way.
And this all leads to a condition we call GRC tool fatigue. Now, this isn't some big, dramatic explosion where the system crashes. Nope, it's more like a slow, quiet drift, a gradual collapse in adoption that, behind the scenes, creates some pretty serious compliance risks without any big red flags. You could call it death by 1,000 clicks.
So, how can you tell if this is happening in your organization? Let's walk through a quick little health check for your GRC program.
And as we go through these next few signs, I want you to ask yourself this question honestly. Is your very expensive platform just kind of sitting there, not really driving any of the actual work? All right, so let's look at the symptoms. Maybe your control task completion rate is tanking because, let's be honest, nobody wants to log in. Or maybe evidence is constantly getting rejected, leading to all this frustrating rework. You start seeing those shadow GRC spreadsheets popping up everywhere, and you realize that's where the real work is happening. Pretty soon, leadership doesn't even trust the platform's data anymore, and control owners are just saying, forget it, I'll just send it via email. Sound familiar? If you're nodding along, trust me, you are definitely not alone.
And here's what's so fascinating about this: the gap it creates. Your GRC platform becomes this system of record. It's this formal archive of what supposedly happened. But the actual system of work is happening over in emails and offline spreadsheets. And that gap, right there, that's precisely where compliance risks pop up and where audit failures are born.
Okay, enough about the problem. Let's talk about the solution. This is where we shift gears from diagnosis to prescription. We're going to focus on a human-centered approach that actually works. And this quote is the perfect guiding star, designed for the busiest control owner. Think about it. Your control owners aren't full-time GRC people. They're busy engineers, IT managers, finance folks. Compliance work is just one more thing piled on top of their day job. If your workflow isn't dead simple and super fast for them, they will find a workaround. I guarantee it.
So how do we put that principle into practice? Well, it's not about some massive, disruptive project. It's a really structured 4-phase plan. You start by truly understanding the day in the life of your users. Then you build incredibly simple, minimum viable workflows. Next, you validate them with the real people who will use them, not proxies. And finally, you operate the platform with constant support and you measure everything. This whole approach is built on just a few core principles. First and foremost, make the compliant path the easiest path, the path of least resistance. Your goal should be a 5-minute workflow. If it's longer than that, it's too complicated. Be crystal clear on what done looks like for evidence to stop that rework cycle. And please, agree on your data definitions and your taxonomy before you even think about building dashboards. Get these things right and you'll build something people actually want to use.
Now for the best part, the payoff. This human-centered approach isn't just some feel-good theory. No, it delivers real, measurable, quantifiable results.
I mean, just look at this chart. This is what happens when you simplify things. Task completion inside the platform skyrockets from a pretty dismal 35% all the way up to a really healthy 85%. That's not just a number on a chart. That's proof that people are finally using the tool the way it was intended.
And what about all that frustration? By making things clearer, you see a 40% reduction in evidence rework. I mean, think about that. That's a massive amount of wasted time, of back and forth emails, just completely eliminated.
And here's the ultimate win, the one that makes everyone happy. Audit prep time. It shrinks from weeks of painful fire drills and scrambling to find things down to just a few days of calm, organized work. This alone is an absolute game changer for most companies.
This brings us to the final and honestly, the most powerful mental model you should take away from all of this. Just look at the difference here. At level 1, you've just installed a tool. The real work happens offline. Evidence is a mess, and your leadership team just sees it as another piece of software. But at level 5, the platform becomes the default way work gets done.
Evidence is audit-ready whenever you need it, and leadership sees it for what it truly is, a trusted operating system for managing risk.
So here it is, the most important thing to understand. If people aren't using the platform, your controls are not working. It's that simple. Evidence is missing, risks are untracked, stuff is falling through the cracks. Adoption is not a vanity metric. It's a direct dependency for your entire control environment.
Which leaves us with one final thought. You see, a project has an end date. You finish it and you check a box. But a product is managed, it's nurtured, and it's improved constantly to serve its users. So I want you to take a hard look at your GRC platform. Is it a living, breathing product? Or is it just a project you once completed?